And here we are, part 2 of 2. Welcome back to Sonic the Hedgehog. Labyrinth Zone is one of my favorites. The music's great, obviously, but just the general flow of the level I think is pretty fun. It's a more difficult level. A lot of traps and whatnot in it. No, not those kind of traps. And has one of the most infamous bosses from this game as well, which we are actually going to be defeating. Yes, I made sure that I got a run where I was able to kill him. It's not as hard as you may think, but it definitely requires some practice. But we'll get to that. We got 2 acts to go through before we even see him. So this serves as more or less the obligatory water level. Although technically it's the first water level in a Sonic game. So it's got that going for it. And I really like the graphics on this level. It actually looks very close to Hidden Palace Zone from Sonic 2. Which I'm sure is what they were going for when they were making Sonic 1. They were like, you know what, we should make this look like Hidden Palace Zone from Sonic 2. Obviously. Yeah, you got these weird spear things that you have to dodge, and first time that we got that really awesome countdown to death timer. So that's something. Now fortunately this time around we are done with all the special stages, so we won't have to worry about those anymore. So we can just go through as quickly as we want. Of course, there is no Supersonic this time around, so unfortunate. Now, as you'll notice, most of the time you can actually make it through the levels without having to grab an air bubble, but they are there in case you need them. And there's at least one spot, maybe 2, where you kind of do have to stop. But certainly when I was doing my practice runs of this game before recording, there are definitely some parts where you really have to go through with the correct rhythm if you want to make it without using an air bubble. That's something that I found that I didn't remember so much when I went back to practice this game, was that there are quite a few sections where, I kind of mentioned it already, like you really have to go through with a particular rhythm, otherwise you end up getting messed up. Oh look, we can do this again. Love it. It's like I'm actually way more amused by the glitches that I can find than the actual game or something, but hey, whatever. Alright, that'll be helpful. You will notice that the water does slow you down quite a bit, but not as much as the game itself slows down in the Game Gear version. Kind of mean putting that guy there, but you can just duck under him. Mm-hmm. Alright, moving towards our infamous boss here. So the funny thing about the boss in this level is that you don't actually have to beat him, you just have to make it through to the end. And in fact, in order to beat him, you have to go with a very specific sort of timing. And it can be really tricky at first. If you've ever played this, you know what I'm talking about. Essentially, Robotnik or Eggman goes to flee from you, and you just have to dodge through all these obstacles, but you're not given that much time to actually hit him. And there's no reason to actually beat him. It doesn't matter for the ending, it doesn't matter for beating the level, but it's just really sad when you go through and you don't end up actually beating him. Give me some of that sweet air. Thank you. But anyways, when we get there, I'll show you the rhythm to do it. If anybody really wants me to, I could probably make a quick tutorial video, but does anybody really want a tutorial video for a game this old? Alright, we're just about there. So, basically the best advice I can give you is you want to hit from underneath him with the timing that it drops you onto the next platform. 2, 3, 4. And one thing to keep in mind is when you stay down here, as soon as he gets off the screen, he kind of stops moving. So you can take your time a little bit and not have to worry about it too much. I even missed a hit there and still am able to catch him. So, yeah, that was one of the trickiest parts in the entire run, despite the fact that it looked relatively simple. Thing is, if you hit with the wrong rhythm, you get either dropped backwards, and then you miss 2 or 3 hits on the way up, and yeah. Anyways. The most peaceful song in the entire game now. Used to be my favorite zone. And, it's still up there, for sure. I don't know what my favorite would be, but such relaxing music. I like, as well, the parallax scrolling I've already mentioned, but the way that the stars scroll like that, it gives it kind of this 3D effect, which is pretty cool. I guess for those who don't know, parallax scrolling is basically when different parts of the environment scroll at different speeds. You like that little shortcut there? Yeah, not bad, huh? But it basically allows you to get more of an illusion of depth. Alright, this part right here, when you go up off the spring and then come over here and land in between those guys, that was actually something that took a lot of practice to do. Because you don't just hold to the right. If you just hold to the right, you hit at the wrong spot. So I had to figure out, alright, where exactly do you hit? Again, it's stupid, like not really necessary to complete the level, but I just wanted it to look nice. Nice. Yeah, this one's pretty quick, isn't it? Compared to Labyrinth Zone, where there's a lot more, you know, backtracking and puzzling and whatever. Not so much in this. Not so much backtracking, but I mean just going in different directions. You pretty much just go to the right in this one. He says as we actually go to the left, but you get my point. You see what I mean, though? I mentioned it in the previous episode, but there's a pretty good variety in this game. Like, we have the more slow-paced levels like Labyrinth Zone, or, you know, Marble Zone. But then you got Green Hill Zone and Starlight Zone, where it's a lot more the, you know, speed aspect. So, it's nice. It's a good game, isn't it? But I didn't really have to tell you that, probably. Alright, this part kind of sucks, but You basically just gotta let them explode and then hop over. And this is kind of a weird boss, but pretty easy, honestly. What's cool is that you do get two different ways to hurt him. You can launch the spikes into him, or you can launch yourself into him. Sort of an idea that would be reused in, well, in Sonic and Knuckles, I guess, in Death Egg Zone. Not exactly the same concept, but close. And of course we're going to go for the kill with the spike balls, right? You knew that was going to be a thing. Ha! Alright, pretty simple, huh? Alright. Now this is definitely the toughest stage in the whole game. It is the last one, so it makes sense. Got a very cool, like, sci-fi sounding theme in the background. A lot of semi-precise platforming, timed jumps, and that sort of thing. And then just generally tends to be kind of brutal in terms of enemy placement and that sort of thing. But yeah, I definitely have to do quite a few practice runs of this one to get it down. And again, the background really just sort of pulling everything together and making you feel like you are in this, you know, dystopian sort of factory, laboratory kind of place. Yep, wrong timing. Those disappear so fast you kind of have to time it before they appear. In fact, I think that Scrap Brain Act 2 is probably tied for the act that took me the largest number of attempts to get it just right. I had to do a lot of practice runs of that one. As I mentioned, I didn't play this one a ton when I was a kid, probably just because I had Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, but this one tends to be a little bit more difficult than those two. So here you go, this is probably the hardest act in the game, even though I said that about a different act last time. There are just a lot of really scary areas in this. Oops. I do like that you can do this, though. That's pretty weird. So yeah, these sections in particular, they don't look all that hard, but with the way that momentum works on these, it's actually kind of tricky to get through those without being hit. And then I think I spoke about this in another Sonic video at one point, but I like that you have those little teleporter things that are the same as in Death Egg Zone, essentially. Because it makes sense that, you know, Robotnik or Eggman's technology would be similar. Boing? That was pretty smooth though, huh? Like, it's sort of a little bit of continuity that's kind of neat. And you could also argue that they were just reusing ideas, but to me, I think it's cool. And that's all that matters, I guess. You'll also notice they put those stupid caterpillars in some really mean places. And it's funny, the number of times that I made it to there and then got hit by a spike ball because I went through with the wrong rhythm. More than I'd care to admit. But hey, we're almost there. Oh no! Now, I'm of two minds about this part. Like, on the one hand, it is cool and kind of makes sense that you would be dropped down into Labyrinth Zone again. But on the other hand, you could again argue that it's just reused assets instead of creating new stuff. But at least it's palette swapped, and it's kind of cool, right? Funnily enough, though, I don't think that this is harder than actual Labyrinth Zone. But hey. If you're a kid playing Sonic 1, basically this entire stage is just a nightmare if you're not coordinated and not used to playing games, as I wasn't when I played this game for the first time. But yeah, I do remember the first time beating it, and I'm pretty happy about that. Funnily enough, the final boss is actually pretty easy. And even as a youngin', I didn't actually have trouble with the boss. It was more the stages leading up to the boss. This is another part where you really have to go through at the right rhythm, or you end up drowning, or having to waste a ton of time. Like, if you miss any of those jumps, it takes quite a while for you to get back up, just because of how much the water slows you down. Ooh, barely made it. And that's about it. And welcome to Final Zone, which is the final zone. You've probably seen this before, but it's really all there is to it. He tries to crush you, he shoots little electro things at you, and whatever. Just take note, if you are trying to just stand in between them, remember that the hitbox on your balancing is misaligned, so you might be standing there thinking you're safe, and you're actually not. Close one there, huh? But yeah, this is literally it. It's pretty simple. Definitely not as crazy and climactic as Sonic 2's final boss, which we'll get to eventually. Ooh, shame. Yes, Sonic. Hang your head in shame for that. Alright. Oh no, he's gonna get away. Oh. Never mind. So funnily enough, because we got all the emeralds and got the good ending, really the only difference is we have all these animals here, and then we do this. And happy trees and flowers everywhere. That's it, that's the only difference for getting the good ending. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it. We're going to be continuing on pretty soon with some more Sonic games. As stated, I am trying to get through pretty much all of them, all the ones that I can. So, I've got at least one other Sonic game recorded right now and ready to go. But if you do have particular ones in mind, by all means let me know. I'm probably planning to get to them eventually anyway, so I can probably move up the schedule or whatever. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this one. The Longplay version, so the, version that's all the way through, no commentary, will be posted shortly. And that's about it. Enjoy this little medley song at the end. It's pretty neat. and I'll see you on the next Sonic game. Until then.